It's time, Cougar Nation. Cougar Tracks. The best season analysis with BYU insider Mitch Harper on KSL NewsRadio and on video every day on the YouTube page for KSL Sports.
Good evening, Cougar Nation. Kalani Sitake is locked in. He will be the head coach of BYU football for a very long time. I am your BYU insider, Mitch Harper, coming to you live from Provo as Kalani Sitake just got done speaking to the media after the announcement that Kalani has signed a new long-term deal to be the head coach of the BYU football program. In a written statement, Kalani said, quote, "We are excited to announce a long-term agreement to extend," this was Brian Santiago, "to extend Kalani Sitake as BYU's head football coach. He is a proven leader, and we are grateful he is once again choosing BYU." That's BYU AD Brian Santiago. Head coach Kalani Sitake said, "I am humbled and full of gratitude for the outpouring of love from BYU fans and the trust and support provided to our football program by our university leadership. I'm thankful to President Shane Reese, Vice President Keith Vorkink, and our athletic director Brian Santiago and his leadership team for the confidence they continue to place in me to lead our program and to take care of our players, coaches, and staff. This is good for the stability and future of BYU football. I'm excited about our future," end quote. That again, head coach Kalani Sitake locked in, turns down the blue blood Penn State Nittany Lions to stay committed to BYU. Look, this is a massive moment for BYU in many ways. One, because they keep the head man, the head coach, Kalani Sitake. Any thought that this was some move or, Kalani's getting courted by Penn State and BYU's thinking, if he goes, he goes. It's fine. We got Jay Hill. We got someone else. We got other people that can match what Kalani does. No. Kalani Sitake is BYU football. He is. And that's not some knee-jerk reaction to the news. Kalani Sitake embodies it. As he said in his press conference just moments ago at the student-athlete building, it's a way of life. Kalani Sitake lives through BYU football. And when you hear that statement and you know it and you're a fan, you get it when he says it. If you're not a fan, maybe you don't understand that line. But for Kalani, it's his lifestyle. It's a way of how he lives. BYU football is in his soul. And you might then ask yourself, well, why did he even kick the tires on this? Because sometimes you need a little bit of leverage to get things moving, get that motion going, to move things to a level that needs to be at great heights. Think about this. When Kalani Sitake goes into these sort of negotiations, it always gets better for BYU long term. 2021. We'll go back to 2019 when Tom Holmoe revealed an Extend Kalani t-shirt after beating an FCS team for a 6th win. BYU gives Kalani an extension. 2020 season during COVID, they go 11-1. 2021, they get an extension after BYU joins the Big 12 and Oregon came calling and Washington was courting him. They give an extension. BYU continued to level up, and now they're one of the winningest programs in the Big 12. Last year they had an extension, but it still didn't really kind of meet the fast-moving, ever-changing college football landscape. This now new investment screams that BYU is not only invested into BYU football at the highest of levels that they ever have been, but also they are invested in Kalani Sitake. And look, Kalani doesn't bring up the commentary that he once said a long time ago back in 2016. I want to be the Polynesian Lavelle Edwards. Because I think, one, he probably got told, hey, don't say that. Like, it's fine. Let's be your own man. I think even Lavelle was like, just be your own man. But this move now gives Kalani to be Lavelle-like in the sense where he is the face of BYU football. He's here to stay. And as Brian Santiago said in the press conference moments ago, this isn't only an investment into BYU football, it's an investment and a belief in Kalani Sitake. I think another reason why this is a big move for BYU, number 2, is because for the short term, it now removes this distraction heading into one of the biggest games in the history of BYU football. You're getting ready to take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders, who moved up to number 4 in the college football playoff rankings tonight. BYU stood pat at number 11, and we could go on and on about the ridiculous nature of those playoff rankings, but still, number 11 versus number 4, massive game. You win, you're going to the playoff. The stakes have maybe never been greater for a BYU football game outside of, maybe the 1984 national championship game when you were in San Diego in the Holiday Bowl against Michigan. Massive game, and even Chase Roberts moments ago said the distraction's now away. They had confidence that Kalani Sitake was going to re-up, but they acknowledged it was a distraction. That now goes out the door. And then I think third and finally, before we get to a break, BYU is showing this isn't just a flash in the pan with, 2 years of 11-win seasons and then dips. And look, there's going to be years where it could dip. It's the Big 12. It's a volatile league at times. But BYU is investing at a level that says they want to be one of the top dogs in the Big 12, and maybe even bigger than that, a program that's breaking the ceiling and trying to, win national titles again. And when you hear that commentary, you might think to yourself, BYU national championships, well, that's the mindset you're going in with when you have moves like this with Kalani Sitake. On3 reported that Kalani's getting anywhere from $9 million to $9.5 million per year. A lot has changed since the days of Lavelle Edwards getting year-by-year contracts and being one of the lowest-paid coaches in the WAC and Mountain West. Oh, how the times have changed. BYU's ready to play ball and do it at a high level, and still, as they continue to put it, the BYU way, which they always want to go about doing it. Even Kalani Sitake was asked if they're going to follow a model similar to Texas Tech. He said no. He said it'll be a BYU way and trying to find tough guys, that blue-collar program. That's going to be the culture that Kalani continues to incorporate. The love and learn, the stay hungry, stay humble. That's what Kalani Sitake is all about. I want to hear from you, too, Cougar Nation. Text is 57500. Hear your text on your reaction to Kalani Sitake being locked in. Long-term extension for BYU football. He just spoke with the media moments ago. Full recap on the KSLSports.com website and the app. We'll take a break. We'll get more reaction to Kalani being locked in as the new long-term extension. He's locked in for the future, Cougar Nation. Celebrate, enjoy it. More Cougar Tracks on the other side here on KSL News Radio.
Cougar Tracks on KSL News Radio. Look for Mitch Harper tomorrow on YouTube. Cougar Tracks airs every day on the YouTube page for KSL Sports.
Welcome back into Cougar Tracks here on KSL News Radio, and it's powered by KSL Sports. Mitch Harper here with you. Just got done at the BYU football press conference where it was announced tonight that Kalani Sitake has signed a long-term extension with the BYU football program. BYU not releasing the length of time that he is locked in. However, safe to say, even Kalani put it, he's here for the long haul. He's locked in. So he's your head coach until further notice. It's all in Kalani's court to get what he wants to get done with this program, and it's a big win for BYU to keep Kalani locked in. And he noted in the press conference about 35 minutes ago at the student-athlete building that the messages from BYU fans on social media had an impression on his family. Kalani noted that his wife, Timberly, noted to him that the last day or so was probably one of her favorites. She called it to Kalani a love bomb from all of the fans for Kalani. There was a social media thread on X from Crumble CEO Jason McGowan saying to fans, "Why do you love Kalani? What does it mean to you to have Kalani Sitake as our head coach at BYU?" And the replies, it was a post that had 2.2 million views, and it was just flooded with BYU fans sharing their favorite thoughts and memories and just moments with BYU's head football coach. Kalani is one of Cougar Nation. He's one of BYU's own leading the program. And that's a powerful thing when you pair up that passion with now new enhanced commitment and a great coach that players want to play for. That's a special dynamic that pretty hard to find You know, Kalani has an incredible ability to get players from all walks of life to play at BYU, and not only play at BYU and take a chance on a different lifestyle or different environment in Provo, Utah, but thrive. And the roster retention has been excelling at BYU. And look, they just finished the regular season at 11-1. Most wins in a regular season for BYU since 2001, 24 years ago. It's a quarter century. And dare I say, I think BYU's just getting started. I think better days are ahead for this program. And I think with having now Kalani locked in, a big piece too is what does it mean for his assistants? And he noted that taking care of his assistant coaches, his support staff, everyone involved with the football program, including the players, he wanted them to benefit too. And I asked Kalani directly about what does it mean for Jay Hill, Aaron Roderick? Does this also mean extensions for them or increased pay? Kalani kind of danced around it a little bit, the question, but he noted that he doesn't want it just to be all about money for those guys and just to stay for money, but he also pointed out because he knows that these guys have potential head coaching careers in their future, and that's Jay Hill, but he also wants to have them in a good place when they're here at BYU. So I think BYU's football program is in a good spot. Brian Santiago tonight noted they want to have state-of-the-art facilities. I asked him directly about that. Kalani kind of scoffed at the idea of facilities in terms of extravagant, lavish facilities. He wants the necessities for facilities. He doesn't want players to just come to BYU solely based on state-of-the-art facilities. They're going to have what they need is what Kalani said, but there's going to be investments into that over the course of this contract and extension for the head coach of Kalani Sitake, who is leading number 11 BYU into the Big 12 football championship game this Saturday in Arlington against the number 4 Texas Tech Red Raiders, and we will be on location in Arlington at AT&T Stadium throughout the weekend. You can listen to the radio call here on KSL News Radio for BYU versus Texas Tech in the Big 12 football championship, kicking off at 10 a.m. Pregame begins at 8 a.m. Keep in mind, Friday night, we're going to have a special edition live, Cougar Sports Saturday from Arlington, Texas, 7 to 9 p.m., breaking down and previewing this anticipated matchup with BYU and Texas Tech from 7 to 9 here on KSL News Radio. There will be so much to talk about. There will be, obviously, with Kalani. There will be Brett Yormark sound, and I think it's just nice that BYU goes into one of the biggest weeks in program history, and they can finally turn the page. And keep in mind, too, tomorrow's National Signing Day, too. You get the clarity with guys like Ryder Lyons, Brock Harris, these heralded recruits. They now know they're going to play for Kalani Sitake. He's going to be their head coach because there was some uneasiness the last 48 hours with this Penn State talk and what was going on there. So it ties up all the loose ends, and now you can just go, as Brian Santiago pointed out, blow the roof off at AT&T Stadium with the play against Texas Tech and Chase Roberts and Tanner Wall. They feel very confident heading into this matchup. And I got to say, too, it probably, this extension for Kalani, gives the program and the players a heck of a lot of momentum heading into that rematch against Texas Tech. Texas Tech hammered BYU that last meeting back on November 8th in Lubbock, 29-7. But I think now with the momentum of Kalani Sitake's extension, maybe there's a chance that BYU can spring that upset. Maybe. It's going to take a lot more than just simply good vibes. And we'll break down that game in greater detail over the course of this week. But this was a huge moment and a huge night for the BYU football program. I would say it's probably the biggest night for BYU football since they got the invitation to the Big 12 Conference back on September 10th, 2021. Huge night. Kalani Sitake is going to be the head coach of BYU football for the foreseeable future as he turns down a blue blood Penn State Nittany Lions. Pretty remarkable stuff. We got you covered here on Cougar Tracks every single day. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the KSL Sports YouTube and right here on the legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.